And then we can get into St. Edwards, 4 seed. Didn't know they'd be here until last weekend, maybe playing their best baseball. And then Lubbock, top seed. They've been consistent all year long. That's what I'll mention to you. And are you going to switch from us to the field during your first answer? Do that, because then I'll put this. It'll look better.
Oh, you ready?
Whenever you are.
They still got to do their whole team.
I know. We got the anthem.
Well, we could do it real quick and then pause for the anthem.
No, I don't.
3 minutes afterwards. Welcome, Saltzman, Lawrence, intro. You got 2 or 3.
Is this the first time they've done it neutral ever?
Technically, no.
Okay, first time in a long while.
We've hosted at neutral sites the prior 2 years.
Right, but you hosted.
Yeah. Well, technically, we weren't the host at Dishwalk the first year we brought it back, 2010.
Okay.
So I would say second time. I'm a backup, so I'm not huge.
You look marvelous. And if after the initial answer, just talking about wide open tournament, it's obvious they're close to starting, I'll just go straight into talking about the Lubbock Christian pitcher. We'll give the lineups. We can talk later about how St. Ed's is playing their best baseball, et cetera, et cetera.
So once I switch to the field, we're just going to leave it there?
I'm sorry?
Once I switch to the field, we're just going to leave it there?
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yes, absolutely.
We'll come back with the first, because we're going to lead into the first pitch anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we don't need to take a break. I mean, we'll just keep chatting because I can give lineups.
Can't hear it.
And welcome, everyone, to the Depot at Cleburne Station in Cleburne, Texas, for the 2017 Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. We'll have games for 3 days, and at the end of Saturday's action, we will crown a Heartland Conference Tournament champion. Our first game pits the 1-seed Lubbock Christian and the 4-seed Hilltoppers of St. Edwards. I'm David Salzman, sitting next to Logan Lawrence, and Logan, certainly with the 4 teams here, we'll see the 2-seed in Fort Smith, 3-seed St. Mary's later today. It's certainly a wide open tournament, especially considering how well the 4-seeded Hilltoppers are playing coming in. It's really anyone's guess as to who will win here in Cleburne.
Absolutely. All 4 teams could win this tournament, if you ask me. During the regular season, not real one dominant team. Lubbock Christian is number 1 seed because they were the most consistent of the 4 teams. But if you ask me, like I said, all 4 teams have a chance to win this tournament. And when blowing out to left field, it's going to be a fun game.
Well, it's a new park as well. This is the home of the new Cleburne Railroaders, who will take part of the American Association League, which pits teams all up and down I-35 from across the country. And the Heartland Conference happy to have their tournament at a neutral site here this year. So, St. Edwards, the 4-seed, Lubbock Christian, the 1-seed. Ricky Contreras on the mound for Lubbock Christian. He is 9-1 on the year, an ERA of 2.32, going against the St. Edwards lineup that is among the best in the Heartland.
Absolutely. The Hilltoppers have definitely hit the ball this year. Pitching's been there as well, but defense has kind of been the struggle for the Hilltoppers. But hitting, not a problem for the Hilltoppers, but going against a good one in Contreras, so it should be a good battle between the 2 oppositions.
All right, and so it is Lubbock Christian and St. Edwards, game 1 of the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. Getting off to a little bit of a late start. First pitch coming up in just a minute. So it is Contreras, 5'10", 185-pound sophomore from Lubbock, and in fact he went to Lubbock Christian High School, now a part of Lubbock Christian University. Mentioned already a 9-1 record and an ERA of 2.32. Here's the lineup he'll face 1 through 9 for the Hilltoppers of St. Edwards under their head coach Rob Penders. William Hairston about to step into the batter's box, leading off and playing center field. Jacob Vasquez is the second baseman, batting second, followed by the right fielder Romeo Cortina. The catcher Gable Whitaker hitting cleanup, followed by the shortstop Blake Alexander, the left fielder TJ Gieselbach. Batting seventh is the third baseman Hunter Corson. Zach Shepard, the first baseman, batting eighth, and the designated hitter for St. Edwards is Troy Anderson hitting ninth. Hilltoppers 30-18 overall, a 14-10 Heartland Conference mark, and a 1-0 count to Hairston as we're underway. Chase Simmons is the catcher and battery mate for Ricky Contreras here this afternoon. Now a 2-0 count. We'll give you the Lubbock Christian defense. Brandon Ricks at third, Jaime Bustamante at short, Josh Narvaez at second, Tony Reyes at first. 2-1 count now to Hairston. Caleb Kodiker is in left, Brent Stewart the center fielder, Brandon Urquizo is in right. That's fouled off over to our right, and the count now 2-2 to Hairston, who comes in batting .355, an on-base percentage of .418, slugging percentage of .536 for the junior from Dallas, and transfer from Texas Tech in Lubbock. Got him on a high fastball. There's one away.
Good job of Contreras to come back after being down 2-0 in the count. Hairston chased one upstairs, as you said. Hairston, the spark plug for this Hilltopper offense, but not able to get things done there to start the game.
For Contreras, 82 strikeouts now in 89 2/3 innings. First pitch to Jacob Vasquez. It's 1-0 to the sophomore from League City, Texas. That's in the South Houston area. He's a transfer from Sam Houston State. To shallow left center, and that'll fall in front of Kodiker. A one-out single for Vasquez.
That right there is just a good job of getting the barrel on the ball off the end of the bat, but dumped it into left field. Sam Houston State, you say, 3 of those transfers on the Hilltopper roster.
You know, it's interesting, and we mentioned it, Logan, in the open, how when you look at the St. Edwards stats, they don't look like a 4 seed. They're .319 average, just second in the Heartland to Lubbock Christian's .323. They also have the best ERA in the Heartland Conference, but they didn't know they'd even be here until last week. They swept Oklahoma Panhandle State, got help from Lubbock Christian, who swept Rogers State, which helped the Hilltoppers get this 4 seed.
Yeah, they took 5 out of 6 to end the Heartland Conference season. The only loss on a walk-off homer at International, A&M International.
And here's Romeo Cortina, best hitter on this Hilltopper squad. He has reached base safely in 30 consecutive games. Senior from Humboldt, another one of those Sam Houston State transfers. 366 average, 440 on base percentage, and he'll bloop this into shallow right center for a hit. On his way to third is Vasquez, and the Hilltoppers have something going early with runners on the corners.
And that's something you'll see from Cortina, which I think makes him a better hitter this year than he was last year, ability to go the other way with the ball. Pitchers are not going to come inside to him very rarely. He's going to have to go to right field, and he just did that there.
Rob Pender's telling us that his Hilltoppers have played their best baseball the last 3 weeks, coming off being swept at home by St. Mary's, who we'll see tonight against Fort Smith. Since then, winning 8 of 9 to make it here to Cleburne. Now here's the catcher, Gable Whitaker, batting cleanup. 360 batting average, slugging percentage of .736 with 14 homers, 61 RBIs. And you mentioned, Logan, that wind blowing out to left here this afternoon. 2-0 count. Bill Powell, our home plate umpire. Gabe Chavez at first, Patrick Griffin at second, Ned Davenport at third. 3-0 now to Whitaker.
Well, Contreras, last year's freshman of the year in the conference, ran into trouble here in the first inning.
3-0 in there for a strike. Blake Alexander on deck for the Hilltoppers. Gable's head coach Rob Penders calls him a coach's dream. Has progressed and improved every year. Start his freshman year at St. Ed's as the count now full, and yet a lot of times you see players peak in their freshman year because then the weight of expectations takes over. In freshman year, really don't know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you're expected to do more. But Gable Whitaker's improved since his freshman year in Austin. Full count. That's fouled off to our right. Still 3-2.
Yes, Gable from nearby St. Edward's Austin Bowie High School, so a local product for the team. Definitely has improved throughout the 4 years, and the all-time leader in doubles in St. Edward's history.
Rob Pender says that Gable's the best example he's seen his last 5 to 6 years at St. Ed's of someone coming in as a freshman and still improving even after that initial success. Ball 4. Bases loaded. 1 out for Blake Alexander. Contreras won't walk a lot of guys, just his 24th walk in 89 2/3. Got William Hairston to strike out to lead off the game. Since then, not the hardest hit of singles, but counting just the same, Vasquez and Cortina, and now Whitaker working the walk. Alexander misses on the first offering from Contreras. Junior from St. Charles, Illinois, and a Dallas Baptist transfer. Batting .356, on-base percentage .468, best on the Hilltopper squad. Time called before the 0-1.
So you see that transfer within the conference. However, Dallas Baptist, of course, in the Heartland Conference, but plays Division I in baseball.
Heartland's never tried to force Dallas Baptist to play D2 baseball. It's one of the better D1 programs, of course. Making more consistent now, making the NCAA regionals.
Absolutely. They play, I believe, in the Missouri Valley Conference.
They do now, right.
But all their midweek games are against Big 12 teams, and they're winning their share of games.
Oh, 1. Inside, 1-1. Contreras, 6 complete games, 2 of them shutouts. He has been excellent, but in trouble here in the top of the first. Gets the strike call. Simmons did a good job framing it on that corner. You could hear some of the St. Ed's fans upset at that strike call from Bill Powell, but the count 1-2. That missed inside.
It's always interesting that first inning. You're going to see what the umpire will give you, how much off the plate. Does he favor the inside strike over the outside strike? Pitcher needs to fill him out, and catcher needs to also do that, so he knows what pitches to call.
Well, Contreras got the outside strike, not the inside strike. Let's see who he goes at 2-2. He goes outside. That's too far out. Full count, bases loaded, one away. Nowhere to put Alexander. Time call. Regular season series between these two teams in Lubbock. Lubbock Christian swept the opening day doubleheader. St. Edwards came back, scored 23 runs to win the final game of the series. But the Shaps took 2 of 3. And ball 4. Alexander reaches. Vasquez scores. St. Edwards the first run at the Heartland Conference Tournament. 4th straight base runner. Now we'll have a conference on the mound. You're at a conference tournament. It's important to every team. Lubbock Christian, though, with a little bit, I don't think leverage is the word, and I don't think their head coach Nathan Blackwood will say they're comfortable about this, but they are ranked 3rd in the latest NCAA South Regional rankings, which isn't the end-all and be-all to decide who makes the regionals next week, but they're used quite a bit. 6 teams will make it to the regionals, Lubbock Christian 3rd. So even if they don't win it all here in Cleburne, they still could make the tournament next week. Maybe they have a good chance. St. Edwards, though, ranked 8th, and Rob Pender's telling us before the game he thinks they have to win it to be able to extend their season.
I agree with you there. Last year, Lubbock Christian went 0-2 in the conference tournament and still got in, got the at-large bid, and definitely what they've done this season should get them in regardless of what happens here.
That ball bounces away from Simmons. The first pitch to T.J. Gieselbach, and everyone advances. Cortina scores. To 3rd goes Whitaker. To 2nd goes Alexander, and a 2-0 St. Edwards lead.
Well, that one didn't even make it to the plate. That one bounced up, and Simmons unable to block that one off his shin guard and back to the screen.
That was a heck of a bounce, too. It is turf everywhere here at the depot, except on the mound. Now they count 2-0. This is very unlike Contreras. You mentioned freshman of the year in the Heartland Conference last season. And just tremendous this year. 9-1, 2.32 ERA coming in. That wild pitch was just his 3rd thrown all year. This is boom to center. Stewart gets under it, makes the grab. Both runners will advance with no problem. 3-0 on the sac fly from Gieselbach.
Well, good piece of one-out hitting there from Gieselbach. Gieselbach coming into today's tournament, the hottest hitter on the Hilltopper squad. Didn't try to do too much with it there. He took what Contreras gave him, ball up, drove it out to center field and deep enough for both runners to tag. Excellent job of hitting there.
To your point, in his last 5 coming in, hitting .526, he gets his 9th RBI in his last now 6 games, including this one. Hunter Corson, the St. Ed's 3rd baseman, batting .324, an on-base percentage of .390. Contreras gets the strike call, and it's a 1-1 count to Corson, senior from Garland.
And the 3rd Sam Houston State transfer.
Right. Contreras working quickly. 2-1. 3-1 now.
And I'm not quite sure if those 3 players were there when Mark Johnson was the head coach of Sam Houston State, the former A&M coach, of course. But Sam Houston State, a great program within the Texas borders.
That's a team that's made the NCAA tournament numerous times the past decade. Full count. And Corson just gets a piece. And that's the 3rd walk allowed by Contreras. But we'll repeat, 23 walks in 89 1/3 innings coming in. but he has been off his game so far in the early going, and these Hilltoppers have taken advantage. 3 runs in, and now runners on the corners, 2 outs for Zach Shepard. Corson going, an early jump, and no throw to second. And now shortstop Bustamonte's coming in to talk to Ricky Contreras, giving him a couple of pats on the back, just trying to calm him down here. This Lubbock Christian team batting .323. They have the firepower to get back in this quickly. But already 3 on the board for St. Ed's, and a base hit could make it 5. Zach Shepard batting .250. Just 1 of 4 on the year.
Yeah, Shepard saw his way into the lineup the last series of the season. Carson Cox going down with an injury, and Shepard, a left-handed first baseman, steps in for his first action against Panhandle State and now here in the tournament.
It's a sophomore from Parker, Texas. Went around, and it's 1-2. Carson Cox, you mentioned, now out for the Hilltoppers, batting .317. But 8th on this Hilltopper roster, a team batting average of .319 coming in. 1-2. Good take, just missed. That was close. 2-2 now.
Home plate umpire Bill Powell definitely not giving that low strike here in the early going. We'll see if that keeps up and is consistent throughout the game.
2-2. Here's that 2-2 pitch.
High chop. Contreras there. And the play made 1-3 to end the inning. 2 singles, 3 walks, a wild pitch, and a sac fly. It's enough to put St. Ed's up 3-0 as the Chaparrals come to bat in the bottom half of the first. They'll face Ballard and Fonte getting the start for St. Edwards today. And Fonte, 6'3", 230, big senior from Sugar Land, Texas, in the Houston area. And a transfer from Texas State. He's 7-3, an ERA of .278. This will be his 15th appearance and 15th start of the season. 74 in the 3rd innings pitched. He struck out 79, has walked 34. Opponents hitting .232 against him. And Fonte has hit 6 batters on the season. Here's the lineup he'll face. 1-9 for Lubbock Christian under head coach Nathan Blackwood in his 14th season with the Chaparrals. He is a Lubbock Christian graduate. He says this is his dream job, and he doesn't want to go anywhere for the rest of his coaching career. And what a job he has done in Lubbock with the Chaparrals regular season Heartland Conference champions. Jaime Bustamante is the shortstop, and he will lead off, followed by the third baseman Brandon Ricks batting second, and the first baseman Tony Reyes hits third. The designated hitter is Ryan Rogers batting cleanup, followed by the left fielder Caleb Kodiker, and the catcher Chase Simmons batting sixth. Brandon Urquizo hits seventh and plays in right, followed by the center fielder Brent Stewart, and batting ninth for Lubbock Christian is the second baseman Josh Narvaez. Battery made for Ballard and Fonte is the catcher Gable Whitaker. The rest of the St. Edwards defense is as follows: Hunter Corson at third, Blake Alexander at short, Jacob Vasquez at second, Zach Shepard at first, TJ Gieselbach in left, William Hairston in center, Romeo Cortina in right, and I imagine Infante has to feel pretty good about himself stepping onto the mound for the first time here this afternoon, Logan, and seeing his team's already put up a 3 spot.
Well, I would say that the only thing he could be upset about is having to stay in the dugout for so long and get cold after warming up. Yeah, definitely a 3-0 start for the Hilltoppers. It's got him feeling pretty good, but he cannot sleep on this Lubbock Christian lineup. The first 6 batters all over 300, 8 of the 9 starters seniors. So definitely a veteran squad that Coach Blackwood has, and starting with here, Jaime Bustamante.
Lubbock Christian 36-12 in the regular season, 19-5 in the Heartland Conference. They were outright Heartland Conference champions. And so we'll see Bustamante, the Chaparral shortstop, lead things off. 406 on base percentage and a big cut missing on the first offering from Infante. It's 0-1. Slugging percentage of .520 for Bustamante, a second on the squad to Caleb Kodiker. 1-1 now. Lubbock Christian's numbers, like St. Edwards, are so impressive. .323 batting average is tops in the Heartland Conference. .388 on base percentage, tied with St. Ed's for the best in the league. 2-1 the count now as that pitch was inside. 11 hits a game for the Chaparral squad. 25 triples, which Nathan Blackwood shakes his head about. It's now 3-1. The Chaparral team just has 21 home runs, which is the least home runs they've had in many a year. Nathan Blackwood says, I don't really have an explanation, but the wind has blown in for our home games more than usual. Wind is blowing out to left still here in the first, as it's now a full count to Bustamante.
It's always true that in most ballparks it's either blowing out or blowing straight in, never across the field.
And it is across the field here, though, to left. That's ball 4, and Bustamante reaches on a leadoff walk.
Well, that's definitely what you don't want to do, Ballard Infante, is to walk the leadoff hitter after getting a 3 spot in the top of the first.
And you'll see this a lot from power pitchers. They'll have trouble with the base on balls. Mentioned the 79 strikeouts and 74 in the third for Infante, but that's now his 35th walk allowed this season. Now here's Brendan Ricks, the third baseman. Oh, 1 count to the senior from Canyon City, Colorado. One of many Seward County Community College transfers. Tremendous program in the state of Kansas. Ricks batting .341, on base percentage of .407. Line foul over the St. Edwards dugout.
Very surprising to me, Bustamante only 2 of 4 on the base paths. Kid's got a lot of speed out there at shortstop, one of the better defensive shortstops in the league, but only 2 of 4.
Maybe more philosophical. Lubbock Christian's only attempted 34 stolen bases all year. They've been successful on 24. To the right side, Narvaez, or rather Vasquez, good range to his left, makes the play. But Bustamante moves over to second, and there's one away. That's another high bounce off this turf. And so we'll say again, this is a brand new facility, the depot at Cleburne Station, where the Cleburne Railroaders will play their inaugural season in what's called the American Association next week. They'll host the Winnipeg Goldeyes, which I'm a little excited about because I have lots of family in Winnipeg. I will not be able to make that game, however, but it is a league all up and down the central part of the United States and even into Canada. That bounces away, and another high bounce, which hits the screen. Bustamante is able to get to third.
That one bounced off of Whitaker's mask. That's how high it came up on him.
There's one away. St. Edwards putting up a 3 spot in the top of the first. 2 singles, a wild pitch, a sac fly, and 3 walks helping their cause. And also having trouble with his control early is Infante, who's frustrated after not being close on that 1-0 fastball. That misses the outside corner. Tony Reyes, Lubbock Christian first baseman, batting .367, an on-base percentage of .402 for the senior from Levelland, about a half hour outside Lubbock. That's just above the belt and a ball. Gable Whitaker looks back at Bill Powell, thought he should have had the strike call. So both these pitchers having trouble with their control early, runners on the corners, and now we'll have a conference on the mound. Jonathan Burns, St. Edwards graduate himself, playing under Rob Penders, will lead the conference with Whitaker and his pitcher Infante. Some of Contreras' pitchers were close in the top of the first. These aren't really close, and even on the fastball, Infante's having trouble locating.
Yeah, Infante, 34 walks on the season in 74 innings. Not too wild, but a little, he's walked more than Contreras has. So you can see with a 3-0 lead, it's obviously you want to throw strikes.
I imagine that's just a conference to try to calm his nerves. The adrenaline's going to be pumping here with what's at stake. These young men needing to control that adrenaline and emotion. But a big battle here with Ryan Rogers, 368 batting average, leads Lubbock Christian. He's at the plate, takes the breaking ball low. Rogers Jr. from Littlefield. On-base percentage of .419 and the slugging percentage of .513. Bustamante at third, Reyes at first, both walked.
And Lubbock with the high average, but you see the on-base percentages for the Chaparrals. All 9 of their players in the lineup today, double-digit walks on the season. So definitely a patient squad as well.
That's inside, 2-0. There is already activity beginning in the St. Edward's bullpen. Maybe Ryan Hill loosening up. Rogers took a cut there and fouls it back. Two-one the count. Big hack on a fastball. That was well located just above the belt.
Rogers couldn't catch up with that one. Ballard snuck that fastball in on him.
Rob Pender's telling us Ballard cannot afford to get behind in the count. Now is back to 2-2. Missed the corner. Count full.
Was been consistent, Bill Powell's not giving that inside, two ball or two off of the plate.
Misses low, and Fonte has walked the bases loaded. Reyes to second, Rogers trots to first, and Caleb Kodiker, team leader in slugging percentage at .576, comes to the plate. 7 home runs, which is a third of the team's dingers. 39 runs batted in. We've had 6 total walks already, 3 for each side. 1 out, bottom of the first. Went ahead on a breaking ball, 0-1.
So actually that is Stuart Springer up in the bullpen, wearing 18 today. But scheduled as tomorrow's starter, so we'll see if that's just getting some work in there. But Austin Weaver, the right-hander, number 25, up as well for the Hilltoppers.
Well, with this conference tournament format, it is so key to win the first game. That's foul back, and the count is 0-2. You can win this tournament with just 3 games. If you win the first, you go 3-0, you've won it. If you lose, then you have to come back and win 4 in a row. And so, though Springer, you said, scheduled to start tomorrow for the Hilltoppers. If Infante struggles, we may see him here. Called strike 3. So Infante comes back and on 3 pitches gets Kodiker looking, and there's 2 away.
Huge strikeout there for the junior from Texas, transfer from Texas State.
And so it's up to the catcher, Chase Simmons. Senior from Cape Girardeau, Missouri. A .329 batting average, on-base percentage of .407. Bases still loaded, all via the base on balls. Oh, that's a good stop by Whitaker. I did hit, I was about to say the turf around home plate. But Whitaker got on that fast enough to prevent that high bounce we've already seen in that area.
Well, the Hilltoppers and the Chaparrals, of course, playing 3 games earlier this year in Lubbock. Lubbock taking 2 out of 3. Simmons against Infante, 0 for 3 on the season.
That's not 2-0.
And really, throughout the lineup, the one player that on Infante this year would be Brennan Stewart, 2 for 3 with a triple and a home run.
That's not close, and it's 3-0 with no place to put Simmons.
Do you give him the green light here?
I'd say no. Make him throw a strike to you. But we'll see here. And ball 4. A 4-pitch walk. Bustamante comes in to score. The 4th walk allowed by Infante here on the bottom of the 1st. And it cuts the St. Edwards lead to 3-1.
Well, Springer's still up in the bullpen. And that's going to be it for Infante.
That's it. Jonathan Burns comes out. But you know St. Edwards wanted Infante just to get out of this inning to perhaps gather himself and his control for the 2nd. But that's how important this game is. Again, you win this game. You only have to win 2 more to win the conference tournament, and Infante is about to be taken out.
Well, one thing you can think about, though, is he only threw 20 to 30 pitches. He could come back and pitch either Friday or Saturday. And maybe that's what Penders is thinking, bringing in Springer. Okay, you're just trading starting pitchers there.
So Stuart Springer comes in, 6'2", 215-pound senior from San Antonio, former Virginia Tech Hokie. Solid season for the Hilltoppers and then some. 9-2 record with 4 complete games, 2 shutouts, an ERA of 3.12. 78 innings pitched is the most on this Hilltopper staff. He's allowed 80 hits but just 12 walks, and he has struck out 67. Opponents batting .260 against Springer coming in. And a completely different look. Lefty coming in to face this vaunted Lubbock Christian lineup. And so Infante lashes 6 batters. Walk, ground out, walk, walk. A 3-pitch strikeout of Kodiker, but then walking Chase Simmons to bring in Bustamante. Just an appearance of 2/3 of an inning for Ballard Infante. If this is a regular season game, of course, we wouldn't see this. But we'll say it again, with this first game meaning so much, and perhaps with St. Edwards not having as deep a bullpen as Lubbock Christian, Rod Penders and his staff all in on this opening game and bringing in Springer here in the first.
Well, the Hilltoppers last year had 4 pitchers with 10-plus wins. So obviously a starting rotation that went deep into games, got the decisions. But you don't see that this year. 3, maybe a 4th starter, yes, but not to the extent of last season's squad. Springer, of course, part of that squad last year, and he's a 10-game winner himself.
I think you bring up a good point. That regardless of what happens today, maybe now, whether it's Infante or Brandon Boone, who will not pitch tomorrow for St. Ed's, but if St. Ed's loses this game, to stay alive, they have to win 2 tomorrow. So maybe we see both Boone and Infante start because of the short appearance by Infante today. Here's Brandon Urquizo, senior from Vernon. A .248 batting average, on-base percentage of .311. So there's a 1-0 count. The bases are loaded, and still no hits for Lubbock Christian. Reyes at 3rd, Rogers at 2nd, Simmons at 1st. And that is just foul. 1-1 now the count.
Springer, of course, usually wearing the number 27, but today he's in number 18. Jersey mix-up.
At least they had one for him here. Will he be 27 tomorrow?
I think it depends on which uniform, which jersey the Hilltoppers wear.
1-1 the count to Urquizo. Good stop by Whitaker on that breaking ball. So such a different look already. You have a lanky lefty instead of big right-hander Ballard Infante. And Springer, not the power pitcher that Infante is, although 67 strikeouts and 78 innings coming in. 2-1 the count. Bases used. High chop. Stays fair. And Whitaker touches home plate. And yet they're going to rule the ball foul. The third base umpire, Ned Davenport, says that the ball hit either the foot of Urquizo, and Rob Penders disagrees. He's going to come and argue this call.
I believe the ball just hit off the plate and bounced straight up.
That's what Rob Penders is saying. He's holding his finger high up into the air, and we've already seen the high bounces around the plate area. But Ned Davenport ruling it foul, and so Urquizo stays alive, and the count's going to be 2-2. Now Rob Penders is pointing towards third base, probably saying, I had a better look at it than you. And this is a heated discussion here. Rob Penders gets his words in and takes the walk back into the dugout. So now Springer has to gather himself after thinking that was the third out of the inning. The count is 2-2. From here, that was impossible to tell, being covered up by both Whitaker and the home plate umpire, Bill Powell.
The only thing I can think of is Davenport saw how the batter reacted, but I think the batter reacted the way he did because he didn't know where the ball was. Not that it hit his foot and he was staying there at home plate knowing it was a foul ball.
So they count 2-2. That's tap foul. I'm not a betting man, but if you would have told me we'd see 7 bases on balls in the first inning of this game with the starters we've seen, you get pretty good odds. That's inside and the count full. So a ball away from walk number 5 of this half inning. Brent Stewart on deck.
Play would more likely be at first base with the runners moving on this 3-2 pitch.
Ground ball into the glove of Corson and to first in time. So Springer comes back to get the third out of the inning. In relief, Lubbock Christian, 1 run, no hits, 4 walks, and they leave them loaded. What a first inning. We have a fun 3 days ahead in Cleburne. 3-1 St. Ed's. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you, and we'll be with you all the way through Saturday. Either Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, we'll crown a Heartland Conference tournament champion. We'll have the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, which begins next week. Lubbock Christian, even if they go 2-out here, still a good chance to make it to the NCAAs, ranked 3rd in the latest South Central rankings. The top 6 out of those rankings likely to make it, although it's not an end-all and be-all. We have a delay before the start of this top of the second as the door to the St. Edwards bullpen is loose.
Well, interesting. Stuart Springer just went down to the bullpen.
First pitch to Troy Anderson is a ball. He's the St. Edwards designated hitter, now a 2-0 count to him. Junior from Bridgeport, West Virginia, Maryland Eastern Shore transfer. Batting .348, 8 hits and 23 at-bats. And that's a strike from Ricky Contreras. Contreras, a different-looking pitcher in the first than what he's been really all year. He walked 3. St. Edwards putting up a 3 spot in the top of the first as that pitch is fouled back. 2-2 now the count. Top of the order on deck and William Hairston. Call strike 3. Anderson, the first out of the second. Nathan Blackwood, in describing Contreras, says his key pitcher is his cutter. Calls it really nasty. Hitters will know what's coming, but tough to square up against it. In fact, the 2 hits you recall, Logan, in the first for St. Ed's, not on the hardest hit of balls, but just placed well.
Hairston getting out in the first on a strikeout. During the regular season, Hairston 4 for 4 off of Contreras in Lubbock.
All those games were high scoring in Lubbock. Lubbock sweeping the Friday doubleheader, and St. Edwards coming back, winning the series finale. One the count. And that hit him. Got him on the elbow, and so Hairston off to first. 10th time Contreras has hit a batter this year.
You see hitters nowadays just willing to take that inside pitch off the elbow with those the protective gear on.
So here's Vasquez, sophomore, with a single in the first and would later score.
So Contreras did pick up the win against the Hilltoppers in Lubbock. However, gave up 12 hits in that one game.
Was the wind blowing out? Neither of us were there. So we've already seen 2 throwovers to first with Hairston on base. And reason being, he has 16 stolen bases this season in 21 attempts. Didn't mean to swing by Vasquez. 0-1 the count.
An absolute huge lead by Hairston. That's why he's thrown over there.
So we got a late break back to first, but able to get in there safely. So you see the big hole on the right side of the infield, with Reyes holding Hairston close. Count now 0-2. St. Mary's, Arkansas, Fort Smith. The first pitch, 6:30 later today. And a quick throw, and they got him. Hairston thought he got in there. Instead, Gabe Chavez makes it the second out of the inning. And Rob Penders, for the second time, is going to have a conversation with a member of our umpiring crew.
So they issue a warning to an extent to Hairston for arguing.
Now, after Hairston was called out, Gabe Chavez gave a bench warning to St. Ed's for arguing, and maybe that's what Rob Penders is questioning, because Rob Penders is the third base coach, and so no way he would have as good a look as Chavez. And now Penders is going to talk to Bill Powell about what just occurred.
Well, the second base umpire is the only one that hasn't had a conversation with Penders in this game. The one at home plate's a short one, and it comes to an end. So there are 2.
The count is 0-2, and 2 away now with bases empty for Vasquez.
Contreras did a good job of mixing up his pickoff moves there. A couple of straight throws over. Might have got away with a little quick pitch there on the pitch before that.
To right center, and that'll drop for a base hit. Big turn around first, but Vasquez will head back. He's 2 for 2 with 2 singles.
Well, interesting at bat there by Vasquez. The first 2 swings he had there were kind of excuse me swings. He didn't pick up the ball well out of Contreras' hands, but able to jump on that one to right center.
Romeo Cortina's single in the first extended his streak of reaching base to 31 games. He'd score in a wild pitch, and he's at the plate now. That's lifted, won't carry. Actually carrying better than expected with that one going out to left, rather, but under it is Stewart. And that ends the second for St. Edwards. 3-1 through an inning and a half here at the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. The Depot at Cleburne Station here in Cleburne, Texas. Neutral site for the 2017 Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. Talked to both head coaches involved in this game, and they love the concept and very impressed by this new ballpark, as it's an 0-1 count to the Lubbock Christian center fielder Brent Stewart. Stuart Springer on for his first full inning of work, coming on in relief of Ballard and Fonte in the first. This is a new stadium, so new that it's not all done. Now, between the lines, everything's fine. When you get here, parking lot still needs painted. They're still planting some grass outside. By next weekend, when the Cleburne Railroader season begins, I imagine just about everything will be all set to go.
Well, definitely has the makings of a very nice facility.
I love parks like this. I mean, it only seats a few thousand. You don't need big parks. You'd be surprised by the level of baseball, though, in the American Association. St. Paul Saints, probably the team that most even casual fans will be familiar with, or at least have heard of. But teams all up and down the central part of the United States and all the way up to Winnipeg, Manitoba. Sky high left side of the infield. Who's going to get it? And finally, going back, Corson saves the day.
Corson called it initially, and then Alexander called him off, but then backed off the ball. Corson able to rebound from that and able to slide over and make the catch.
That ball was hit so high that Stewart had just about rounded second base by the time Corson finally made the catch. And there's one away.
I'll say not very high skies today. There are some clouds up there, so you do have the ball going in and out of clouds. So not as difficult as it could be.
Josh Narvaez at the plate. An 0-1 count to the senior from Lubbock. Midland College transfer. .260 batting average coming in. On-base percentage of .353. and a slugging percentage of .377. No homers for Narvaez, who bats in the 9 spot in the order. Count now 0-2. If you're just joining us, Ballard and Fonte getting the start for St. Edwards allowed 4 walks, and 2/3 of an inning was lifted for Stuart Springer, who originally was set to start tomorrow. Now in for what he hopes is long relief, and he gets Narvaez on a 3-pitch strikeout.
What you saw there was Springer working both sides of the plate, went away twice, and then got in under his hands for strike 3.
So an interesting first time through the Lubbock Christian order. 4 walks, no hits, but a run on the board. They trail 3-1, and now top of the order in Bustamante. Breaking ball in. That is ripped up the middle. Base hit. First base hit for Lubbock Christian here this afternoon. The 70th hit for Bustamante this season.
Bustamante with that ball on the outside part of the plate there, able to go back up the middle. You saw Infante and then work inside on Bustamante. Wasn't getting the inside call. And then you saw the first pitch from Springer inside, but that ball over the plate and Bustamante able to shoot it right back up the box.
What a career he's had. 134 hits as a chaparral now. Here's Brendan Ricks, grounded out his first time up. Count is 0-1. Loser of this game will play at high noon tomorrow in an elimination matchup. Winner will wait until 3:30 tomorrow. Waved at a breaking ball, 0-2.
And that's what you're going to see from Springer. You know, like he said, he doesn't blow away the radar gun. He's got the off speed, he's got the changeup, and he gets hitters to chase.
Strike away from getting out of the second. All the runs in the first. Got him. Took something off. 3-pitch strikeout. The second for Springer in relief. Bustamante a 2-out single, and he's left. 3-1 St. Edwards through 2. The St. Edwards lead the 4 seed here at the Heartland Conference Tournament in 2017. They look to extend that edge with Gable Whitaker, Blake Alexander, TJ Gieselbach due up. Ricky Contreras, a much better second inning on the mound for Lubbock Christian as he gets Whitaker to hit this high in the air to right center. And there to make the play is Stewart. There's one away. Contreras, 3 walks and a wild pitch and a 3-run St. Edwards first. Did give up a single and hit a batter in the second, but a pickoff at first of William Hairston helped his cause, and he kept the Hilltoppers off the board in that last inning. Here's Blake Alexander An 0-1 count to him. He had one of the 3 St. Edwards walks in the first. 1-1 now the count. It's funny, we asked Nathan Blackwood, the Lubbock Christian head coach, about not hosting this tournament for years. Prior to this one, the regular season champ would host, and he actually said he was okay with it. Number one, he said, I've been a favor of this tournament being at a neutral site for so long, so I can't really complain. And number two, this was even the more interesting part. He said, if we were to host, there'd be a lot of off-the-field stuff we'd have to take care of. Here we just have to get on a bus and come to Cleburne. But it's St. Edward's game so far. That is way over the wall and gone for Blake Alexander.
That's out of the facility over the second fence as well on left. His 6th home run of the season for the DBU transfer.
That was no doubt from the moment it left the bat. As you said, and we mentioned in the second inning, they're still putting grass down in a lot of areas around this new facility. So it's one of the rare times that we can call that's in the pasture belong the left field wall. Temporary pasture. 4-1 St. Edwards lead, our first extra base hit of the game for either squad. First pitch strike to TJ Gieselbach, his sac fly. And the first helped the Hilltoppers to 3 runs.
And Contreras obviously upset about that pitch, working quick.
That's to right field, carrying as well, but Urquizo is there, a nice running grab.
As you see, not only is the ball flying out to left, but that one to right center drove Urquizo out to the warning track.
Mentioned all the runs these two teams scored in the 3-game series in Lubbock earlier this season. Told that really those entire 2 days, the wind was blowing out to left at about 20 miles per hour. But one of the rare times that actually happened at Lubbock Christian games this year. First pitch strike to Hunter Corson, who walked and was left on base in the first. That home run to Alexander, the 5th allowed by Contreras this year. 0-2 pitch popped up. Coming in, Urquizo, who calls up Narvaez to make the grab. But the solo moonshot by Blake Alexander gives the Hilltoppers their 3-run lead back. 4-1 St. Ed's through 2.5. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you today and for the next 3 days here in Cleburne. First game of the Heartland Conference Tournament, a 4-1 St. Edwards lead. As Stuart Springer on for his 2nd inning of relief and able to get a grounder through that big hole on the right side of the infield. Tony Reyes, his first hit of the game. He's reached base both times up.
Well, Vasquez shaded almost up the middle on that one. It was such a huge hole for Reyes to push it through.
That's the 2nd Lubbock Christian hit. And now Ryan Rogers, the DH. He walked his first time up. 4 walks led to Lubbock Christian's only run of the game in the first. They left the bases loaded. 1-0 count to Rogers. 17 doubles leads the Chaparrals. Also 44 runs batted in. Plus 14 walks. You've mentioned for as good a hitting team this is, as good a team in terms of their patience. 1-1 now the count. Go ahead.
As you stated, the neutral site tournament that the coaches are kind of excited about. The 2010 tournament, the first time that the Heartland Conference brought back the tournament, was held at Dishwalk Field, home of the Texas Longhorns, of course. Very similar setup to this, all turf.
Right.
All turf field with the mound cut out with dirt.
I at least want dirt around home plate, though. What do you think? I understand cost-wise, turf, less maintenance, but I like dirt around the plate. Obviously, you must have dirt on the mound. Pitchers can get their footing. Swing and miss, and a wicked breaking ball from Springer, 2-2. You're neutral on the dirt around home plate argument?
It's not that big of a deal.
Not to you?
I mean, it looks like dirt, right?
I mean, I'm old school. I'd love dirt all around the infield, but again, cost comes into play. Same pitch as before. Rogers takes, and now it's a full count. No one out, and Tony Reyes on first. That's ball 4. Just the 13th walk allowed by Springer in 79 and a third innings this season. And his first today, first 2 have reached for Lubbock Christian. Nathan Blackwood says this is one of the most enjoyable teams he's been around. Says in the past, some of his best teams have had just, superstars. Maybe the best hitter, 2 best hitter, just stars. But he says there's no player of the year type guy, but strong 1 through 9 in the entire lineup. Caleb Kodiker struck out his first time up, but now up with 2 men on. That's a strike.
I'm willing to bet that the 36 wins makes it a little more enjoyable as well.
Yeah, he's had really good teams. You may recall the first year they joined the Heartland, they weren't eligible for the conference tournament. They went 26-4.
Yeah, they had 2 All-Americans on that team. They could absolutely mash the ball. They came to Austin. I remember seeing those guys, and home run after home run, let me tell you.
0-2 now to Kodiker. Struck out looking on 3 pitches his first time up. Now behind 0-2 here. And a big spot for both him and Stuart Springer on the mound. Chase Simmons on deck. Got him. Second straight time he has struck out on 3 pitches. There's 1 away.
I'll tell you, that's the mantra for Springer out there. Get ahead in the count and able to use that curveball to his advantage.
Well, for all Kodiker does well. He has been victim to the strikeout now 57 times this season. That was a big out for Springer and the Hilltoppers. But now Chase Simmons. He was the last batter that St. Edward starter Ballard Infante would face, Infante's 4th walk. So Simmons' first time to see Springer. Springer's done a nice job getting that inside corner to right-handed hitters. 0-1 now the count as Whitaker comes out to the mound.
I think they were mixed up on the pitches there because I don't know if Whitaker was ready for that fastball. Of course, with the runner on second, you have to change up the signs, of course.
Reyes on second, singled his first time up. Ryan Rogers walked. These 2 teams, the 2 best hitting teams in the Heartland. 0-1 count. Whoa, way inside. Fort Smith, St. Mary's, our second game today at 6:30. Then we'll have 3 games tomorrow. By the time we're done tomorrow, just 2 teams will be left in this tournament. That, fortunately for Whitaker, bounced right off his chest protector and stayed in front of him. We've seen 2 wild pitches already bounce high over the catcher's head. Count now 2-1.
And it's really tough to tell home plate if it's sunken in a little bit and you have a ridge around it, or it's laying on top of the turf. It's tough to tell from up here, but it does look a little different.
Ground ball, left side, base hit. Reyes rounding third, being sent home. Throw to the plate, bounces off the foot of Reyes, and as it goes to the backstop, the runners will advance. 4-2 the St. Edwards lead, and the Chaparrals have 2 runners in scoring position.
A little unlucky there for the Hilltoppers. The throw probably wouldn't have got Reyes at home. However, hitting off his foot allowed the runners to move up and take away the double play.
I thought the throw was going to be cut off. But instead, the break for the Chaparrals, even though the ball hits Reyes, he's right down that baseline, and so that ball remaining in play, and again allowing the runners to advance, and a single or any base hit may tie the game now. As Brandon Urquizo was up, he was the first man for Springer to face and grounded out to end the first.
The only thing I could think of is Corson, who was the cutoff man, had the runner Rogers in his sights and saw that he was not going to go to third even if the ball does go through. So he let it go. Why not take a chance?
Nah, good point. 1-0 the count. To right, probably deep enough to get the run home. Cortina underneath, both runners tag, and Rogers will score. Simmons to third. Lubbock Christian now down just 4-3.
Well, both teams had to have known it's not going to be easy. 2 good hitting squads, especially with all the runs put up in Lubbock earlier this season with the same conditions, wind blowing out to left.
This has just been good. This is just good pieces of hitting by Lubbock Christian. Remember the Tony Reyes single on the other side of the shift. There's Urquizo. Sky high to left field and brought in for the final out. The Lubbock Christian gets 2 on the board on 2 hits. And they've cut the St. Edwards lead to 4-3. We'll head to the 4th here in Cleburne. So Lubbock Christian right back in it with a 2-run third. And the St. Edwards lead down to 4-3. Ricky Contreras has survived a rough first inning. Now in his 4th inning of work. And a tough throw to first to get Zach Shepard. Narvaez able to get that started, and there's one away.
Well, Narvaez had 2 options there. He could have thrown a run like he did, or he could have set his feet. I think he had time to set his feet, but just decided to go with a fluid motion there.
Here's Troy Anderson, who struck out looking his first time up in the 2nd. Top of the order on deck, and Hairston. 4-3 the St. Edwards lead. Hilltoppers out hitting the Chaparrals 4-3. Ground ball up the middle and by a diving Bustamante into center. So Anderson on for the first time, and that's the 5th St. Edwards hit.
I think that's what you have to do against Bustamante. You can't do too much because he has so much movement on that fastball. Anderson just took what he gave him. Did I say Bustamante? I meant Contreras. Sorry about that. And Anderson on with 1 out.
So here's Hairston. First pitch ball. This the only game going on right now involving teams from the South Central region. Lone Star Conference tournament begins in 40 minutes. They have 4 teams in their tournament, 2-seed A&M Kingsville and 3-seed West Texas A&M. And then at 7 tonight, top seed Angelo State, who's also ranked number 1 in the South Central region. We'll take on the 4-seed Cameron. 1-2 the count out of Hairston.
And what's surprising about that tournament is Cameron, the 4-seed, not in the regional rankings.
Mm-hmm.
However, Tarleton State, ranked 7th, left out.
Hairston strikes out on a high fastball. Second time he struck out here in the game, 2 away.
Yeah, Harrison's got to lay off that high pitch. Contreras obviously has found something after giving up 4 hits to Hairston in Lubbock. Seeing that he's going to chase the high fastball, he's going to stick with it probably.
So here's Vasquez. He is single both times up, scored in the first. Actually, I need to correct myself. The RMAC tournament, Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, they are underway in Grand Junction, Colorado. 6 teams go to that tournament. Colorado Springs and Regis, the 5 and 6 seeds, playing in an elimination game as we speak. As that's popped up to Bustamante. And that'll do it in the 4th. Troy Anderson, a 1-out single, is left. And it's still 4-3. St. Ed's over Lubbock Christian through 3.5. Fourth the St. Edwards lead as we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning here at the Depot at Cleburne Station in Cleburne, home of the Cleburne Railroaders. Houston Astros fans like me will remember that now Minute Maid Park was initially called the ballpark at Union Station. That's where it is, the old Union Station. And Enron Field, fortunately not that anymore, now Minute Maid Park.
Actually took in the game on top of the building Union Station.
Is that right?
Yeah. Out there in left field outside of the stadium.
When was this? Because likely they weren't winning when you were there. You haven't gone this year.
Of course, it was an Astros-Rangers game.
Oh, there you go.
7 years ago.
That's a liner off the bat of Josh Narvaez into the glove of Jacob Vasquez. One away. Stuart Springer came in with 2 outs in the first after Ballard Infante, the starter for the Hilltoppers, allowed 4 walks. 2 runs, 3 hits allowed for Springer so far. Jaime Bustamante singled off Springer in the second and was left on base. He walked and scored in the first. 0-1 the count. Now 1-1 the count. Lubbock Christian ranked 3rd in the South Central regional rankings. Top seed Angelo State, we mentioned, plays tonight. 2nd seed Colorado Mesa, the only team ranked in the RMAC, plays at 4:30 Central Time, hosting their conference tournament against CSU Pueblo. Of course, Heartland with 4 teams in their baseball tournament, 5 teams in the softball tournament. And if there's one thing to maybe be against if you're a team like Lubbock Christian this year, winning the regular season title, not only do you not host now because the Heartland's playing at a neutral site, the only mini advantage perhaps is you're playing the 4 seed instead of the 2 or the 3, but no one really here sees St. Edwards as below Fort Smith and St. Mary's. They see them pretty equal. 1-2 is high, 2-2. If you're a 6-team tournament like the RMAC, for example, Colorado Mesa is playing a team that lost yesterday in the first day of the RMAC tournament. So it's a bigger advantage for the top seed there. That could be a gapper, and that's going to roll all the way to the wall. Bustamante, good speed, will stop at second, and it's a 1-out double. 3rd time he's reached base.
Definitely the spark plug for this offense, batting at the top of the order. Why not? You know, for a little guy, 520 slugging percentage, that's pretty good. 406 on base percentage, and that's obviously gone up today.
His 14th double of the season. Also 6 triples, and he was hoping for number 7, but got the stop sign at 3rd. And so here's Brendan Ricks, who's 0 for 2.
I'm actually really surprised he didn't have a triple. He must have been a little slow out of the box or stumbled, because that's a big right field gap out there with the cut going out towards right center, outfield fence.
Well, there's no big weakness in this order. And so there's not a lot of a break for Stuart Springer on the mound for St. Ed's. He has Ricks batting .341, Reyes at .367 on deck. To short, and they'll go to 3rd, and they have Bustamante on a rundown. Throw, tag applied, they got him. 6-5-4 on the rundown.
Good heads-up play there from Alexander. And if you're Bustamante, you got to know that ball's in front of you. It's at you or behind you when you go to 3rd. But willing to force the issue, and Alexander was awake on that one and got him. Big play for the Hilltoppers.
So Ricks reaching on the fielder's choice at first, but now there's 2 away. It's amazing how often you even see that in professional baseball. I've seen that even on the major league level, where players, it's like on instinct. They just go when it's much smarter to stop. That's a base hit off the bat of Reyes, and runners on 1st and 2nd.
That right there would have probably scored Bustamante.
Back-to-back singles for Reyes. He's reached all 3 times up. And now Ryan Rogers at the plate has walked twice and scored a run. And the Shops 2-run 3rd.
So Reyes with 2 straight singles through the hole on the right side, but the Hilltoppers continue to play him up the middle by Vasquez. So obviously the prior bats have given you that scouting report, but Reyes is overcoming that.
First pitch misses inside, ball 1 to Rogers. In both of Rogers'
1-0 to Rogers. Kodiker on deck.
tying run at second base.
Hits even at 5.
2 outs. We play the bottom of the 4th. Set at the belt. And his pitch miss up.
2-0 now.
Not sure where that is, but that had been the area that the home plate umpire had been given. Hit on that outside. So 2-0 count. That pitch on the way.
That hit him.
Does hit him.
So the bases loaded now. And can Caleb Kodiker come through? He has struck out on 3 pitches his first 2 times up. And now here comes Jonathan Burns, pitching coach for the Hilltoppers. We'll have a conference on the mound. There is no activity in the Hilltopper bullpen.
Definitely just a big spot in the game here. Been quite a few of them so far. But Burns out to settle down Springer. Probably remind him what he was successful with against Kodiker in his previous at-bat. Burns, as you said, a former Hilltopper, also a draft pick of the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, it's his 3rd season as an assistant under head coach Rob Penders. 2011 graduate from what they call the Hilltop. Quick conference, it's over, and here we go. So, yet again, multiple base runners on for Lubbock Christian. They've left 5 on base. They have the bases loaded here, 2 outs. Kodiker, 7 home runs, 39 runs batted in, but we've mentioned his struggle so far today. Nice job holding off on that breaking ball inside.
The outfield slightly shaded for him to pull, with Hairston shaded over into left center, probably about 5 feet.
39 runs batted in on the year for Kodiker, the transfer of University of Texas Arlington.
To center.
Hits this one straight away center.
Under it is Hairston, hauls it in to end the inning. For the 2nd time, Lubbock Christian leaves them loaded, and they've left 8 on through 4. Still 4-3 St. Edwards.
No errors. 3 runners left stranded. LC has stranded 8.
So while Lubbock Christian certainly feels they should have more on the board, they've left 8 on through 4. A reason why this is just a 1-run game is how Ricky Contreras has hung tough after struggling mightily in the first, walking 3, also throwing a wild pitch. Hilltoppers with 3 of their 4 runs in the first, their only home run or only run since. A towering bomb off the bat of Blake Alexander, who is due up 3rd here in the 5th. First Romeo Cortina and then Gable Whitaker. Cortina singled and scored on the wild pitch in the first. Flew out to center his last time up. sky high to center. Stewart is there. One away.
Fortina does not get cheated on his swings.
So, mention the RMAC tournament. Day 2 has begun in Grand Junction, Colorado. Two teams would surprise many if they would make it to the final day. 5-seed Colorado Springs, 6-seed Regis, both lost yesterday, and they're in a 4-4 tie in the 6th. Gable Whitaker hits one hard to center. Stewart there again. 2 away.
Well, the Hilltoppers getting solid contact off of Contreras, just maybe missing it by a bit and finding the fielders of Lubbock Christian.
And so here's Blake Alexander, a no doubt moonshot over the left field wall in the third. He walked in the first. That home run was his 6th of the year. Talking to his head coach and third base coach for the Hilltoppers, Rob Penders, before this at-bat begins.
Wonder if he's telling them that, you know, home run's nice and all, but we need you to get on with 2 outs here with nobody on.
Gieselbach on deck. Want to know the count. Most of the outs off Contreras have been via the fly ball out or the pop-up. We've had just 2 ground ball outs so far today with Contreras on the mound. That's in the dirt, 2-1.
Teams with 5 hits. Edwards with the 1-run lead.
3-1 now.
Alexander's favorite, 3-1. 2 outs and nobody aboard. And the 3-1.
And there, and the count is full at 3-2. So important these day 1 games. You win, you just need 2 more wins to bring home the hardware. You lose, you got to win 4. And Ricky Contreras keeping his team in it with solid pitching since his struggling first. He gets Alexander to strike out swinging. That is the first 3-up, 3-down inning for any pitcher in this game. We're halfway through, 4-3 St. Ed's. As expected, solid game here to begin the Heartland Conference Tournament. St. Edward's 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. Lubbock Christian 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. So we'll begin the bottom half of the 5th. Stuart Springer about to start his 4th full inning in relief. Came on with 2 hits in the first after starter Ballard and Fonte walked 4 chaparrals. Springer giving up 2 runs in the 3rd. He has not had a 3-up, 3-down inning yet, but has been for the most part effective as Chase Simmons fouls off the first offering. Simmons, an RBI single, back in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 1 with a walk. Came in batting .329, an on-base percentage of .407. Appeal to first, no swing. But breaking ball inside, which Springer continues to go to, especially against right-handed hitters. Give Springer credit. He's thinking he's probably going to pitch tomorrow. All of a sudden, he's called up in the first inning. And has hung tough against this Lubbock Christian lineup, who leads the conference in batting average at .323. That just missed inside, and it's 3-1. Nathan Blackwood says the Chaparral team, the best Division II team he's had. Of course, most of his seasons as an NAIA powerhouse. That is ripped to left for a base hit. Big turn. Simmons holds at first, a leadoff single. Here's Urquizo, who's 0 for 2 against Springer here today. He does have 5 sack bunts on the season. Lubbock Christian 24 sack bunts overall. See what he does here. Simmons short lead off first. He pulled back, and it's 1-0.
Thought that ball was in the strike zone, but of course with Whitaker out of his crouch, home plate umpire probably not be able to see that one.
Brent Stewart on deck. Doesn't show bunt this time, and now it's 2-0. Nathan Blackwood saying his team's execution has been just terrific this season. Looking to come through here to at least tie the game here in the 5th. That's in there for a strike. Chaparral's now out hitting the Hilltoppers 6-5. Wind continuing to blow across the depot here from right to left. Quickly laying down the bunt, but fouling it back, so now 2-2.
I don't know if Blackwood's giving him the sign for that, or Urquizo's just recognizing where Corson is. Because Corson playing back on that one, and Urquizo tried to drop it down.
He'll play at regular depth now, behind the bag, not expecting a bunt with 2 strikes. Count full. Walked him. Springer allowed the first 2 Chaparrals to reach base in the 3rd. They both scored. He's done the same here to begin the 5th. Simmons to 2nd as Urquizo reaches for the first time. Now will Brent Stewart try to lay the bunt down. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. And first baseman Zach Shepard is already on the quote-unquote grass, though it is artificial turf here at the depot.
We'll see if the Hilltoppers try to get that lead runner at 3rd. Corson staying back, so Springer's obviously got the 3rd base line on this bunt, if they choose to bunt.
And with Springer being a lefty, as he finishes his delivery, he'll go toward that 3rd base side of the infield. Corson creeping up a bit, but still even with the bag. Time called.
Very close to a balk there on Springer. He almost broke his hands before stepping off. With Alexander cheating in like that, you got to expect maybe the wheel play might be on. So Corson would charge, and Alexander would try to beat Simmons to 3rd.
And Simmons, big catcher, not the best of speed, leading off 2nd. Now we're ready. Beautifully done. Will there even be a play at first? No. That could not have been laid down any better. Bases loaded. Josh Narvaez, the 9-hole hitter, at the plate. 27 runs batted in, and a huge opportunity here. No outs, bases loaded again for Lubbock Christian. Third time they've had them loaded here in this game. Top of the order due up. Now there's activity in the Hilltopper pen. Austin Weaver. Strike call.
On the season, Narvaez 0 for 2 with the bases loaded.
He does have 2 sac flies. 260 hitter. On base percentage, 353. 19 walks coming in, second on the squad. He's 0 for 2 today. Takes that. First strike, 0 and 2.
Well, I was going to say that the Hilltoppers, especially after what happened on the last bunt, be careful that another bunt's not laid down. But now with 2 strikes, can roll that one out logically.
That ball died off the bat of Stewart so fast. Something for both teams to be aware of. Foul back. Middle infielders in double play depth. Rob Penders will be happy to give up the run to at least get 2 outs on a ground ball. You can see Corson on the left side of your screen is behind the bag. Zach Shepard off the line, but even with that first base bag. Still an 0-2 count. Tried to get that inside corner, but couldn't. 1 and 2.
And Narvaez sticking that leg out.
1-2 count to the senior from Lubbock. That's a senior-laden Chaparral team. Now Springer gets his sign from Whitaker. Whoa, inside hits him. You could see that immediately as the pitch gets away from Springer. Simmons scores. 4-4 tie, and the base is still loaded with no one out. And now you get the top of the order. The bottom of the order, 6 through 9, has this started for the Chaparrals. Bustamani's reached base all 3 times up, twice against Springer on base hits. Here comes Jonathan Birds.
Austin Weaver will be the pitcher coming in for the Hilltoppers, the freshman from Georgetown, Texas.
And what a situation for him to come into. Springer in surprise relief, coming on with 2 outs in the first, makes it to the 5th. But now his Hilltoppers in trouble. 4-4 tie. Lubbock Christian has the bases loaded and nobody out. Back to Cleburne in just a minute. Austin Weaver, the new hurler for St. Edwards, freshman from Georgetown, which is just north of Austin, where St. Edwards is located. 6 feet, 205. It's his 13th appearance on the season, 12th in relief. He's 3-0 at ERA of 2.13. 6 walks, 20 strikeouts, and 25 in the third innings. 13 hits, so a whip under 1, and hitters are just batting 149 against him. So he's been solid in his first season as a college pitcher, but what a situation he walks into with the bases loaded, nobody out, already a run in for Lubbock Christian. They've rallied from 3 down as the Hilltoppers put up 3 in the top half of the first, and we're tied at 4. For as much success as both these teams have had this season, especially Lubbock Christian, neither has been good at rallying late. In fact, Lubbock Christian 1-8 when trailing after 5, winless when trailing after 6, 7, and 8 innings. Of course, their run here in the 5th makes it tied. St. Edwards just with 1 win trailing after 6 all season, and winless when tied after 6, 7, or 8 innings. So a lot of their wins, of course, both these teams coming just by dominating games early. Jaime Bustamante, the first batter to face Weaver. 2 for 2, walked and scored in the first, couple of hits off Springer. And it's an 0-1 count. Strike called on that first pitch. Brandon Ricks on deck, Tony Reyes in the hole. So this is the top of the order now for Lubbock Christian, looking to take their first lead of the afternoon. 1-1 count. Bustamante, 33 runs batted in this season. Ground ball right side off the glove of Shepard into right field. 1 run in. Stewart comes in to score. 6-4 Lubbock Christian. Runners at first and second, still nobody out for the Chaparrals.
Bustamante had been 0 for 2 against Weaver this season, but able to find the hole and just get it past the first baseman.
St. Edwards coming in with the 5th best ERA in the nation. Lubbock Christian with 6 off him. And Brandon Ricks pops up the bunt, and coming on to make the grab is Corson. He'll race back to third in case Narvaez tried to tag, but everyone holds tight. Now first and second, 1 out for the Chaparrals.
One of the 2 runs right there give Lubbock the lead. But I think the most important run of the game so far was that run that they got in the bottom of the first inning to answer and not be down 3-0 going into inning number 2.
Well, they have had runners on every inning, and in 4 of the 5 innings, multiple runners on. Remember, they've left 8 on, so this is the first time they've really broken through. Although they had 2 runs in the 3rd, they certainly had opportunities for more. Tony Reyes, a 1-1 count. Nathan Blackwood raving about how he stepped up this season, his first season in the 3-hole. Calls him team's best overall leader. Trying to lead the Chaparrals to extend their 2-run lead. Look out. That was line foul into the Chaparral dugout. 1-2 the count. It was 4-1 St. Ed's through 2.5. 2 in the 3rd, 3 here in the 5th for Lubbock Christian. And Reyes, the 7th man to bat this inning. Still 1 out. Fouled off to our left. And nice grab by a Lubbock Christian fan off the bounce. One of the few Chaparral fans here not wearing bright blue. You can cheer just the same. 2-2 now. There's no activity in the Hilltopper pen. Weaver, the third St. Edward's pitcher. Ricky Contreras, after struggling mightily in the first on the hill for Lubbock Christian, has been terrific since, just allowing a solo homer. Line foul. Good job, Reyes, laying back on that off-speed pitch, but just pulled the trigger a hair too early. Or hair too late, rather. Two the count. Ryan Rogers on deck. Sun is out here in Cleburne. It's been cloud cover most of the day. That's fouled off to our left side. So a good battle here between Weaver and the senior Tony Reyes. Mention all the seniors on this team. Bustamante, Narvaez, Reyes, Urquizo, Brent Stewart, Brandon Ricks, Kodiker, Chase Simmons. All seniors. That'll be in play. Alexander there. After the first 5 hitters reach base for Lubbock Christian. Those are big back-to-back outs for Weaver, but he still has work to do.
Absolutely. You saw the different approach that the Hilltoppers went against Reyes there. Able to pull 2 inside pitches through the hole on the right side. Away, away, away that time against Reyes.
So here's Ryan Rogers. No official at bat, but he's reached base all 3 times. 2 walks, and he was hit his last time up. So all the runs in this inning charged to Stuart Springer. 1-1 the count. So he's allowed 5, and Narvaez still the quote-unquote responsibility of Springer. Tap foul.
Rogers leading the Chaparrals with 44 RBIs. He's a really big guy, 6'5", 225.
He's their cleanup hitter. Old style cleanup hitter. You know, that big. Kodiker on deck. Almost hit him. Oh, no. In fact, Bill Powell will say that it hit
the jersey,
the piece of his jersey. And so off to first goes Rogers.
And again, with the bases loaded, Kodiker will come up.
Well, this is something. Kodiker in the first was up with the bases loaded, struck out. In the third was up with 2 runners on, struck out. In the fourth was up with the bases loaded, flew out. He's left 8 on, and he's up with the bases loaded here. Late on the fastball, 0-1. A hit could really break things open. Lubbock Christian so deep with their pitching staff. To short, into the glove of Alexander, flips to Vasquez, and Caleb Kodiker 0 for 4 with 11 left on. However, his teammates have done the job, and they take the lead with the 3 spot in the 5th. They bring 9 to the plate, and the Chaparrals up 6-4 through 5.
It's kind of been a roller coaster of a game, and there's still a lot left on this ride as we're going into the sixth inning.
So now St. Edwards at the plate, down for the first time today. T.J. Gieselbach will lead things off, as Ricky Contreras giving up 3 in the first, struggling in the second, though, did not allow a run, has been excellent since. He did allow a solo homer to Blake Alexander in the third, but besides that, a single to Troy Anderson in the fourth. He's retired 5 in a row. And working really quickly to Gieselbach here. The count is 2-2. Gieselbach, sac fly in the first. He is 0 for 1. 2-1, rather, the count. Now it's 2-2. So we talked about how big the opening game is, because the team that loses this has to win 4 in a row to win the conference tournament title. But for St. Edwards, as that's lifted to the right side, and Urquiza will make the play for the first out. St. Edwards has used 2 starters today. Ballard and Fonte just went 2/3 of an inning. Stuart Springer wrapped up his first relief appearance of the year. So if St. Edwards loses this game, not only do they have to win 4 in a row, but again, they've used 2 starters today. So it's going to put a huge onus on this Hilltopper pitching staff just to get to Saturday, much less win this whole thing.
Not to mention, if you need that 4th starter, some could argue that Austin Weaver is that 4th starter. So they've used 3, if it comes down to that.
Yeah, Tanner Lawson, 7 starts on the season. But not a weekend starter for the Hilltoppers. To short, Bustamante. That's now 7 in a row retired by Ricky Contreras, who has settled in and then some for Nathan Blackwood Chaparrals. Zach Shepard is 0 for 2. A 2-0 count. Troy Anderson on deck. I already mentioned how, despite the success for both these teams, neither have been very good rallying late. Inside corner strike, and it's 2-1. St. Edwards 1-12 when trailing after 6 this season. 0-8 trailing after 7. I guess the outside corner, 2-2. Bustamante. Contreras has gotten better as this game has gone along. 8 in a row retired by the Chaparral ace. Still 6-4 Lubbock Christian through 5.5. Austin Weaver, first full inning of work about to begin, bottom of the 6th. And his St. Edwards Hilltoppers down to Lubbock Christian 6-4. New first baseman for the Hilltoppers is Zach Schindler, redshirt freshman from Katy in the Houston area.
6-4 your scorer in the bottom of the 6th inning. LCU at the plate. Simmons, Urquizo, and Stewart. It's 2 for 2.
1-0 the count to Chase Simmons. Couple of singles, couple of runs batted in, including a bases loaded walk in the first.
All-conference selections. And the one that's the few that's not doing the product
Line to the right side, foul.
Thursday afternoon. Doing the housework for the Shap suit. Lead 6-4.
Well, a game teams here in the Heartland will be paying attention to, about to get underway, as the Lone Star Conference Tournament begins in San Angelo. West Texas A&M, A&M Kingsville. That fouled off. West Texas A&M ranked 4th in the South Central region, and A&M Kingsville ranked 5th. So both those teams with at-large hopes, much like Lubbock Christian, to the NCAA tournament, which begins next week. Angelo State, the top seed, and the 2 seed, Colorado Mesa, playing later today. St. Edwards seeded, or actually ranked 8th. Rob Pender says probably they have to win the tournament here in Cleburne to make it to the NCAAs for the 5th straight year. Count now full. Lined, nicely done on a hard hop. Alexander, throw to first in time.
Well, he had to turn his glove over there. He thought it was going to hop up and he's going to be able to catch it chest high, but it stayed low and he's able to go down much like a hockey goalie and prevent it from going 5-hole.
And the balls have skipped hard off this new turf all afternoon. Cleburne Railroaders of the American Association hosted an exhibition game here yesterday. Their season will begin next week against the Winnipeg Goldeyes. Goldeye, by the way, a fish unique to the province of Manitoba. It has a distinctive taste. I've had it.
Don't know if I've ever had that. So,
Well, you know what? You can make the flight up to Winnipeg when Cleburne plays up there and check out some Goldeye. Off the bat of Urquizo, tough play, but Schindler flips to Weaver, and there's 2 away.
so Austin Weaver has come on and settled things down.
Yeah, St. Ed's pitcher has not retired Lubbock Christian in order today, but if Weaver's able to get Brent Stewart here, he'd do just that. Hilltoppers 3 in the first, 1 in the third. Chaparrals 1 in the first, 2 in the third, 3 in the 5th. Brent Stewart in that 3-run 5th with runners on first and second, no outs. A beautiful bunt that died down the third base line. He reached base and would later score. Right back to Weaver, and the St. Ed's pitcher will get the 1-2-3 frame. Nicely done by the St. Edwards freshman on the mound. Still 6-4 Chaparrals as we head to the 7th. So Ricky Contreras, after allowing 3 in the first, has been tremendous since, and he'll start his 7th inning of work. He'll face 9-1-2 for St. Ed's. Troy Anderson leads it off. Single in the 4th. Just one of 2 base runners Contreras has allowed since the 3rd. Blake Alexander the other in a solo homer. Anderson will be followed by Hairston and Vasquez. 1-1 the count to the St. Ed's DH. That's laced over the glove of Bustamante into left center. Hilltoppers trying to get something going here.
Well, Anderson, quite the 9-hole hitter here. 2 singles in his last 2 at-bats.
Just 8 of 23 coming in. A good batting average. Obviously not a lot of work for him. And now William Hairston up. Hit by a pitch, struck out twice, both on high fastballs from Contreras. Takes a fastball high here.
We'll see if Coach Rob Penders decides to put a play on here. Down 2. 3 innings to go here, so you never know if we're going to play for 1 and try to get one of those back right here.
Got her in there for a strike, 1-1. There is activity now in the Lubbock Christian bullpen. Now 1-2. So does he go high fastball here, as he's done 2 other times, getting Hairston to strike out? Short lead off first by Anderson. Taken outside. Looks like Brennan Fowler's one of the pitchers warming up, freshman for the Chaparrals. Ripped and over the glove of Ricks into left.
Don't know what they're going to call on that one, but absolutely ripped. Probably a base hit on that one.
Well, again, these balls off this new turf have been scorching, and that was just scorched off the bat of Hairston regardless. And so this is the first threat, if you will, for St. Ed since the 2nd. But with nobody out, they have runners on 1st and 2nd. And now we'll have a conference on the mound.
It will be a single through the left side for Hairston. His first hit of the game.
So it looks like, as I take another look at the Lubbock Christian pen, I'd mentioned Fowler, but it actually looks like Nicholas Hooper.
Yes, 15.
And Nathan Dockery. Are the pitchers warming up. Dockery a left-hander and Hooper a righty. This is a long conference here to help the relievers get a little more work in. As Jacob Vasquez is about to come to the plate, a couple of singles popped up his last time up. Contreras will stay in there.
Now we'll say possibility of a sacrifice bunt to get him to 2nd and 3rd with 3 and 4 coming up for the Hilltoppers. Could be the plan for the Hilltoppers.
So it'd be interesting here if that happens. You mentioned again, Vasquez has done well against Contreras today. He does have 4 sacrifice bunts. And, of course, you want the runners over. Tying run will be in scoring position. He does show bunt. Pops it up and out of the reach of Simmons. I don't know if you were able to see it on your screen, but Simmons, a good dive for it. Just before the padding behind home plate.
Almost went head first into the padding.
Right. An 0-1 count. That was a tough pitch to bunt. That was a fastball high, and Vasquez couldn't get the bat high enough to get the ball to stay down. Does he try to bunt on 0-1? Already showing bunt and then time called.
Bit of gamesmanship there from Lubbock Christian. Probably stepping off to see if he was going to offer.
Once he showed bunt, Tony Reyes was taking some hard steps in towards the plate from his first base spot. Gets it down, beautifully done, and off the glove of Contreras, everyone's safe.
I mean, he had to dive for that ball almost because it's going to get past him and roll all the way to third base.
It's a single, 3 singles to begin the top of the 7th for St. Edwards, and their best hitter, Romeo Cortina, at the plate.
Almost the same exact inning that Lubbock Christian had 2 innings ago. First and second, nobody out. They get the bunt down, a bunt single, and now bases are loaded. Hilltoppers' 2 best hitters coming to the plate.
Cortina's single in the first extended his streak of reaching safely in a game to 31. Lined right field foul. About 2/3 up the left and right field line. There's very little foul ground. There's a berm area on both sides of the field, and that's where that liner hit off the bat of Cortina to the right side. Swings, base hit. Anderson scores. Rounding third, Hairston. Throw cut off. St. Edwards has tied it. 6-6 on a 2-run single by Romeo Cortina. 49th and 50th run batted in.
And as I stated before, Cortina does not get cheated with his swings there. Absolutely blistered that ball out in the left field. The third baseman, Ricks, had no shot at that ball. The ball was past him before he could react.
Nathan Blackwood comes out, wants to go to the lefty, and that will be it for Ricky Contreras. So Contreras got out of his early struggles and was terrific innings 3 through 6 except for a solo homer. But running into trouble in the 7th, 4 consecutive singles to start the frame. We're tied at 6 here at the Heartland Conference Tournament in Cleburne. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you. And what a game we have had to begin the Heartland Conference Tournament. St. Edwards an early 3-0 lead. Lubbock Christian storming back, leading 6-4. And now the Hilltoppers with the rally. 2 runs in the 7th. And they have 2 runners on, nobody out. Nathan Dockery is the pitcher for Lubbock Christian. Sophomore lefty from Amarillo and one of their many Seward County Community College transfers. He has an ERA of 9. This is his 10th appearance of the year, all out of the bullpen. 7 innings pitched, 13 hits. He's given up 10 runs, 7 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He has allowed 2 home runs on the season in his 7 innings of work. He's a lefty and will face a right-hander in Gable Whitaker first.
Well, you got to think that maybe this is preparation for the rest of the tournament, possibly not bringing your first guy out of the bullpen right away, much like the Hilltoppers bringing a starter out of the bullpen. 6-6 game, you're going to use a lot of pitchers this game. Both teams are not willing to back down. There's going to be a lot of runs scored.
Yeah, I think it's good to question this a little bit, but Lubbock Christian, a few more cards to play here. They are 3rd in the regional rankings. If they go deep here in Cleburne, even if they don't win the tournament, they're probably in the NCAAs. But interesting here, Whitaker the righty, Dockery the lefty. First pitch, it's going to work. 5, 4, 3. What are we questioning? Over to 3rd goes Vasquez, but 1 pitch from Nathan Dockery, and Lubbock Christian's in much better position.
Interesting that Ricks didn't step on third and then go to first. He elected to go to second. So now Vasquez on at third base. I know either second or third base you would have a runner in scoring position, but at third base that opens it up for a wild pitch or a pass ball.
Here's Blake Alexander. Good stop by Simmons on that breaking ball. Alexander's solo bomb over the left field wall into third made it 4-1 Hilltoppers. I could see why Dockery may be effective against righties. He has a good movement on that pitch that goes inside to right-handed hitters. 1-1 the count. A base hit, St. Edwards would take the lead. We've mentioned already both these teams' struggles and rallying late. Even being tied after 6, after 7, and after 8 this season, St. Edwards is winless, even with the 30-18 record. Got the corner, 2-2. 6-6 tie with a runner on third and 2 away. Still a 2-2 count.
Just to update you on the possible weather delay, the 26 miles out is what we've been informed. 26 miles out, storm coming from the southwest.
Well, that's not good timing, especially as this game's heated up. Second game of the day, scheduled to begin at 6:30. Well, what a job laying off that breaking pitch by Alexander. That must have been enticing, and he laid off at the last second. Full count, 2 outs. Taken high, runners on the corners.
So now Gieselbach, who came in the hottest hitter for the Hilltoppers.
Yep.
0 for 2. He did have the sac fly back in the first inning.
Yep, and to your point, in his last 5 coming in, Gieselbach hitting .526, 7 runs, 8 runs batted in. Some movement in the Lubbock Christian pen. Nathan Dockery trying to get out of this GM and help his starter and Ricky Contreras. Corson on deck. Loser plays tomorrow at noon in an elimination affair. Winner tomorrow at 3:30. Breaking ball taken. To your point about the weather, cloudy most of the day, then the sun came through for a bit. Now clouds covering the depot at Cleburne Station again. Just foul outside the third base line.
2-0 count, and he got a pitch to hit there, just a little bit out in front. Dockery, it looks like that pitch that he keeps pounding into the turf is a circle change. It's kind of breaking away from the batter.
There's that change there. Good call there, Logan. That might have been his best pitch so far of his appearance from 2-0, 2-2.
He's able to keep that one up out of the turf. Keep wanting to say dirt.
Me too. Throw to first. Fort Smith, St. Mary's. Reason for such a long stretch of time between games is that the teams get batting practice here today. They'll do batting practice off-site tomorrow. We'll have 3 games tomorrow. Lifted to left. Back is Kodiker. He'll watch it go. 3-run home run.
That one's over the second fence as well. And now that Gieselbach 0 for 2 against Contreras, but now a new pitcher and a new result.
7th home run for Gieselbach this season. A 5-run 7th for the Hilltoppers, and they lead 9-6. One strike away from keeping it tied and instead a 3-run Hilltopper lead. Another high-scoring affair between these teams. Runs abound in their series in Lubbock, and the same here in Cleburne.
Now, David, I know the wind is blowing heavy out to left, but both of those two would have been out of here without the wind.
No doubt. Hunter Corson takes the first pitch for a ball. So Nathan Dockery 1 strike away from keeping it 6-6. To short. Bustamante to Reyes, and that'll do it. But how things change quickly. 5 runs for the Hilltoppers. The 3-run homer by T.J. Gieselbach, the big blow to Lubbock Christian. And as we stretch, 9-6 Hilltoppers. So the stories are beginning to pile up here. The back and forth drama between these two teams, of course, takes center stage. But Logan, as you mentioned last inning, the weather could be a factor, if only for a few moments, because a pretty nice cell formed just southeast of Stephenville, which is about, an hour or so west of here in Cleburne. And looking at the radar, it is approaching this way. It's not a big cell, and it's moving awfully fast, so it could be some heavy rain, but for a short period of time. It is getting darker here as that cell approaches. Of course, we'll keep playing until then. Josh Narvaez leading it off for Lubbock Christian with Bustamante and Ricks to follow. After a 5-run Hilltopper 7th, St. Ed's leads 9-6 as that pitch is lined to the right to the new parking lot. And it's a 1-1 count.
Bustamante a perfect 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs, a double, and he's reached 4 times with that walk as well.
Yep, and he is due up. Right side. Vasquez to Schindler. 1 away. So the freshman, Austin Weaver, first man he faced was Jaime Bustamante with the bases loaded, and Bustamante got him with a 2-run single. Since then, though, Weaver has not allowed a hit. First pitch just missed, 1-0. The Lone Star Tournament, West Texas A&M, Texas A&M Kingsville scoreless through 2. At the RMAC Regis, in a loser's bracket game, 7-4 lead over Colorado Springs in the 8th. Coming in is Gieselbach, who, if this game ends this way, would be the hero. He makes the play. That is now 6 straight retired and 8 of 9 by Weaver. There is activity in the St. Ed's pen. Now 2 outs in the 7th. Ricks popped up a bunt his last time up. Has reached on the fielder's choice, but he's 0 for 4. And Lubbock Christian, if they don't win it all here in Cleburne, a good chance they'll get in, though not guaranteed, getting into the NCAA tournament, of course. Oh, boy, that got away from Weaver and hit Ricks high above the neck. Thankfully, his helmet took the brunt, and he'll go to first base with 2 outs. It'll be interesting with the weather coming if it is approaching as expected. If Weaver's to get out of the inning here, do they stop or do they wait for the rain to come? Because when it comes, it's supposed to get hard pretty fast. Tony Reyes takes a ball. Couple of singles and a walk for Reyes today, including a run scored. One now the count.
And that's all Reyes has been able to do with that outside pitch there. They've stayed away from him and just throwing his hands out there.
Tanner Lawson is the man warming up for St. Ed's.
Another Division I transfer for the University of Houston.
2-1. Yeah, it's interesting. A number of Division I transfers on this St. Ed's team. Not as many for Lubbock Christian, but many JUCO transfers on this squad. What's interesting is the number of four-year players on this Lubbock Christian team. But then you see Bustamante, an Odessa College transfer. But there's just so many West Texas players on this Lubbock Christian roster. A hotbed for baseball. Of course, this whole state is, but a lot of them in West Texas, of course, they stay close. Texas Tech, one of the best teams in Division I the last couple of years. 3-1 the count. To left, Gieselbach there. And that'll do it in the 7th. Ricks hit by a pitch. He's left on, and Lubbock Christian has now left 12 on base. Still 9-6 Hilltoppers through 7. Top of the 8th begins. First pitch swinging. Zach Schindler out to center field for out number 1. Schindler before that at bat, batting .241 on the year, an on-base percentage of .308.
In between innings there, the Hilltopper closer, second baseman Jacob Vasquez, running out to right field to get some warm-up pitches in the bullpen.
Troy Anderson now at the plate. Singled and scored in the 5-run 7th. He's 2 for 3. Good news is, with the rain approaching, as I look at the My Radar app, it has lightened up a bit before hitting us here, although there is rain, we're told, about 15 miles away. Time called, as you mentioned, Vasquez was warming up. Time called as he runs back to the dugout. But he had to run through right field first. Here's Bustamante to Reyes as Anderson is out 6-3, and there's 2 away in the 8th. Nathan Dockery coming in with an ERA of 9. Has been awfully good except for one pitch T.J. Gieselbach 3-run blast to give St. Edwards a 9-6 lead last inning.
You mentioned the final process of getting the stadium ready. On the field is great, but maybe finding out a better option of getting a pitcher from the bullpen to the dugout.
No.
But not in professional baseball, not many pitchers play position.
I was about to say, in the American Association, I doubt they would have that problem, but in college, you'll see that a time or two. William Hairston singled and scored last inning. He's 1 for 3, also hit by a pitch. Count to him is 2-0. We have been fortunate with the weather overall. It was earlier this week the conference was even discussing moving this game up a couple of hours because of all the rain that was expected today. We have not seen rain yet today, although, again, we do expect to see some not too long from now. 2-2 the count now to Hairston. He swung and missed on a changeup. To center. Stewart. It'll fall in front of him. Second hit for Hairston today.
Able to get his bat out on that one on the outside corner off the end of the bat and dumps it into center field.
So teams in the Heartland want Angelo State to win the Lone Star. They're the top seed in the region. If they win, then maybe West Texas A&M or Texas A&M Kingsville doesn't make it. You want Colorado Mesa to win the RMAC because they're the only team in the South Central rankings. Well, teams from those two conferences watching this, wanting Lubbock Christian to come back. That is deep off the bat of Vasquez, and that'll one-hop the wall. Rounding third, coming home as Hairston, and after warming up in the bullpen, Jacob Vasquez has an RBI double, 10-6.
Well, that one right there, great read by Hairston, because as soon as he saw off the bat and he saw the left fielder, Kodiker, chasing it, he took off. If he doesn't take off right away and he sees it down, he doesn't score.
So for Vasquez, his 4th hit. His first for extra bases. And came in batting .286, with many of his teammates hitting better coming in.
And this from a guy that was in the 8th spot for most of the season, and he was moved up to the 2nd spot and is delivered.
Strike to Romeo Cortina. His 2-run single tied the game in the 7th. He's 2 for 4. 12 hits for the Hilltoppers, 8 for Lubbock Christian. What a back-and-forth affair here. St. Ed's led 4-1 through 2.5. Lubbock Christian led 6-4 through 5. But then 5 in the 7th and 1 more here in the 8th. For St. Edwards. Of course, Lubbock Christian 3rd in the South Central rankings. St. Edwards 8th. We'll see Fort Smith against St. Mary's later today. Fort Smith is 6th. So there's a lot of drama here and in the Lone Star Conference with at-large teams. It's not 2-2 the count to Cortina. In the RMAC, still drama, but not as much. I mean, Colorado Mesa's in. And the only way another team from that conference gets into the NCAAs is if another team wins the whole thing.
Well, I think the top 3 schools in the Lone Star Conference are probably going to get in. Definitely need Mesa.
That's up the middle by a diving Bustamante. Another run's going to score. Vasquez in. Cortina, his 3rd hit and his 3rd run batted in. $11-6.
So 2 big 2-out hits there from Vasquez and Cortina.
Now I'm going to question you on something. You think both Kingsville and West Texas A&M will get in, ranked 4 and 5 right now?
Just as long as Mesa wins the RMAC tournament.
Well, Tarleton's 7th, but they're not in the Lone Star tournament, so that obviously hurts them. If that's the case, if what you're saying is correct, then Fort Smith and St. Edwards can't both get in from this conference.
2 teams from the Heartland Conference.
Runner going. He got a great jump. What a nice throw to second, though, and they got him. Wow. On his knees. A tremendous throw by Chase Simmons, and Cortina is gunned down. Just the third time he's been caught stealing this year in 12 attempts. Yet the Hilltoppers add 2, and they extend their lead to 11-6 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. First pitch off the bat of Ryan Rogers is a fly ball to center field, and it's hauled in by William Hairston for the first out. Austin Weaver on the mound now in his 3rd full inning, but he came on in the 5th, bases loaded, nobody out, and a 4-4 game. He gave up a 2-run single to Jaime Bustamante that gave Lubbock Christian a 6-4 edge, but since then he's hit 2 batters, and that's it. He has kept Lubbock Christian off the board, and from 2 down, St. Edward's up 5 with 1 out in the 8th. The rain has started to fall, although it is light and expected to get a bit heavier about 10-15 minutes from now. That is ripped to left, home run distance, but foul.
That's the kind of day it's been for Caleb Kodiker.
Not by much.
Caleb
Tough to
Kodiker.
tell from here.
Well, Caleb Kodiker has left 11 on base today and almost made up for it just a bit with that swing. He pulled the trigger a split second too early. He struck out twice, 0 for 4 overall. That's ripped foul, lying that way outside the left field line. And if St. Edwards is able to hold on, Lubbock Christian will lament having the lead and losing it late, but also men left on base, 12 for the Chaparral so far. Still 0-2. West Texas A&M, A&M Kingsville, scoreless top of the 4th. Kodiker goes down. His 3rd strikeout today. He's 0 for 5. 2 away in the 8th.
Weaver has been outstanding since coming in relief. Just giving up 1 hit in 3 2/3 innings.
So you think West Texas A&M and A&M Kingsville will both get in regardless? I think there's a good chance of that. But one of those teams goes 2 and out, then of course they'll be sweating out the selection show, and we know one of those teams will lose today since they're playing as we speak. Lubbock Christian came into the Heartland Conference tournament last season ranked 4th, went 2 and out in Belton, and held on to get the 6th seed. Chase Simmons, grounder to the left side. Corson to Schindler, and what a job Austin Weaver, the freshman, continues to do. Still 11-6 Hilltoppers through 8. Lubbock Christian new pitcher Reagan Lucia, freshman, 6'1", 185 from Lubbock. 1-1 on the season, an ERA of 3.38. Just a 182 against batting average, although he has walked 7 and 13 in the third innings. He does have 2 saves on the season. He comes in with his team down 5, so the top seed in danger here of having to win 4 in a row, 2 tomorrow, 2 Saturday, to take home the Heartland Conference Tournament hardware. St. Edward's probably in a must-win situation here to make the NCAA tournament. It would be their 5th straight NCAAs if they're able to make it. And what a rally. 5 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. Actually, correction, it would be their 6th straight. They've made it every year since 2012. Dable Whitaker walked in the first, only time he's reached base. He hit into a 5-4-3 double play. First pitch from reliever Nathan Dockery in the 7th, but then Dockery walked Blake Alexander and gave up the 3-run homer to TJ Gieselbach, which gave St. Edwards, at the time, a 9-6 lead.
Home plate umpire Bill Powell asking Lucia to remove a...
That's off the bag, and it stays fair. It'll go to the left field corner. Chasing it is Kodiker, as Whitaker stands up with a double.
So I started to say Lucia had to remove a bracelet or a watch. I can't tell what he had on, but might have been his good luck charm.
So here's Blake Alexander, solo homer in the 3rd. Walked and scored in the 7th. 1 for 2 with 2 walks today. 14 St. Edwards hits. These two teams coming in best in the Heartland and batting average, tied for first with a .388 on base percentage. St. Edwards almost a .500 slugging percentage as a team coming in. You look at the stat sheet, you say to yourself, how can St. Edwards be 14-10 in the Heartland? Yep, they only got it here based on their performance last weekend, sweeping Panhandle, while Rogers State got swept by the Chaparrals in Lubbock. Lubbock Christian thinking, maybe we would have lost a few to Rogers and we wouldn't have had to face the Hilltoppers. The way this game has gone late. 1-1 the count. Narvaez. And, well, rough throw and a great play by Reyes, diving to touch the first base bag. An eventful 4-3 putout moves Whitaker to 3rd.
Great at bat there by Alexander, putting the ball on the right side and moving Whitaker to 3rd. Great job of moving the runner along, and Hilltoppers trying to manufacture an extra insurance run here in the 9th.
And so here is who, if this score holds up, would be the hero. Gieselbach's 3-run homer, giving the Hilltoppers the lead in the 7th. Also a sac fly in the 1st. Rips that foul just outside the left field line. Beyond the turf, that looks like dirt. Or is supposed to, anyway. I imagine all of you watching, maybe it looks a little bit like dark dirt to you. You can tell it's turf from our vantage point here. Gieselbach now 42 RBIs this season.
Hilltoppers with a lot of transfers this season. After graduating 20-plus seniors, you come to expect that.
That's foul back. And you know what? Rob Penders told us before the game, that's a big reason why he thinks it took the Hilltoppers so long to kind of get in a groove, if you will. He said it wasn't until after the Hilltoppers got swept by St. Mary's a month ago. They went down to Laredo, took 2 of 3 from A&M International, but said that was the first time as a team they grinded through at-bats, got late into counts, fought off pitches, stayed more patient at the plate, and since then, things have come together, winning 8 of 9 coming in. When they got swept against St. Mary's, you looked at the standings and you thought, but Hilltoppers may not even make it here. Swung at a high off-speed offering, but stays alive. Still 2-2 to Gieselbach.
It's also about getting the right lineup and the right mix of guys in there, right combinations, you know, where to put who in the order, what spot. I think Vasquez moving from 8 to 2 was a big move.
And here's an example of fighting off. That 2-2 offering, initially maybe Gieselbach could have laid off, but that's a good fastball just outside. He just gets a piece. And he'll get another pitch coming from Lucia here. A lot of times transfers, especially freshmen, Rob Pender says, it takes some time to understand what it takes to be successful at this level. Quick throw to third, but not close, and now the count's full. You see the infield playing in for Lubbock Christian. But St. Edward's up 5, 1 out top of the ninth.
5 runs is hard enough to come back from. 6 would.
This could get the run home. It carries with the wind blowing out and still carrying as Stewart gets under it. But coming home from third is Whitaker. TJ Gieselbach has a 5 RBI day, 12-6 Hilltoppers.
And that right there was a good job of manufacturing a run. Leadoff double from Whitaker, ground out by Alexander to second, gets him to third. And Gieselbach, like you said, his second sacrifice fly, able to do what is necessary.
So here's Corson. Corson 0 for 3 with a walk. He hasn't been able to get in on the offensive party yet, hoping to here an 0-1 count to him. That is ripped to left, going towards the corner, and falls just foul. Barely outside the left field line, about 15, 20 feet in front of the wall. Told you why I'm not a weatherman. We've been expecting rain. And actually, looking at the radar, it's broken up a bit. And a lot of the rain's to the south of us. We actually may not get much of it.
Must have
scared
it off, I guess.
Well, they knew we had a baseball game to play. We got a tournament to play here. That's why, you know, in the RMAC, you got your 6 teams, so you're playing 3 games a day. That's where, I mean, rain affects a tournament like this. You get rain when you're supposed to be playing 3 games a day. Now you're looking at 9 a.m. first pitches if it rains enough. I want my sleep. That is ripped into left. Corson, his first base hit of the day. 15th Hilltopper hit. I'll bring up Zach Schindler. Conference on the mound, and there will be a pitching change now. So let's take a timeout. Now this game is turned. St. Edwards had the early lead. Lubbock Christian led 6-4 midway through, but with 2 outs top of the ninth, 12-6 Hilltoppers looking for more. E.J. Ramos is the new pitcher for Lubbock Christian. 5'9" junior from Woodhaven, New York. No record, his 6th appearance, an ERA of 8.31, 4 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 4 earned runs. He faces Zach Schindler as the sun has now come out, although there's still mostly cloudy skies here. A 2-0 count to Schindler, who's 0 for 1 in place of starting first baseman Zach Shepard. Hunter Corson on first. A run in the 9th, 2 outs, and a 12-6 St. Edward's lead. The 3-0 pitch is in there for a strike. Three one. Runner going. And a walk to Schindler. Runners on first and second now. It's not Troy Anderson. Singleton scored in the 7th. DH in the 9 spot is 2 for 4. One oh now the count. If Anderson gets on, we'll see William Hairston for the 6th time at the plate today. Two and one now. Two one, strike on the outside corner. Now 2-2. Got him. That'll do it in the 9th. For the Hilltoppers get insurance on a sac fly by T.J. Gieselbach. 3 outs away. St. Edward's up 12-6. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you. What has been a fun first game. And back and forth we've gone, but St. Edward's put their foot in the proverbial accelerator since the 7th. 5 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, and it was a close game. And the old cliche, the score will not indicate how close the game was. Well, it's 12-6 St. Edward's now as we hit to the bottom of the 9th. So Chaparrals need 6. Brandon Urquizo, a 1-1 count. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. He'll be followed by Brent Stewart and Josh Narvaez. Left side foul.
And I believe you said earlier in the broadcast that St. Edwards has not come back after trailing.
Well, they were
after
1 and
6 innings.
they were 1 and 12 and
1 and
trailing
12. There
after
you go.
6, but when tied after 6, 7, or 8 innings, winless, and they had not won a game when trailing after 7 or 8 innings. So they would be 2 and 12 when trailing after 6 if they are to hold on here. Lubbock Christian, when leading after 6, 32 and 3. And they have the 6-4 lead through 6. Into the glove of Alexander. They get Urquizo in time.
That's where the turf helps you out there, because that ball takes more of a skip off the turf than it would on grass or dirt.
Hilltoppers now 2 outs away from a 3:30 first pitch tomorrow against the winner of our nightcap here today between Arkansas Fort Smith and St. Mary's. It's a 1-0 count to Brent Stewart. St. Mary's swept St. Edwards in Austin in mid-April. That's called a strike. Well, the Hilltoppers took 2 of 3 at home against Fort Smith in mid-March. Oh, got away from Weaver, way inside. That's fouled off the ankle. Stewart bunt single in the 5th and would score in that 3-run frame. It's his only hit. He's 1 for 4.
Weaver just allowing the 1 hit in 4 1/3 innings. Got off to a rough start this year in his first couple of appearances, but his last 6 appearances totaling 13 innings, only allowing 1 earned run.
Well, he is in line to go to 4-0 in the season. 2 outs away from what would be a 5-inning win. Now likely 1 out away. Alexander, boy, just got Stewart in time. Nice hustle down that first base line by the Lubbock Christian center fielder. Since giving up that 2-run single to his first batter, Jaime Bustamante, which gave Lubbock Christian a 6-4 lead in the 5th, Weaver has hit 2 men, and that is it. That single in the 5th to Bustamante, the only hit he's allowed, and now 4 2/3. Justin Arvaez 0 for 3, hit by a pitch. Hilltopper pitchers have hit 4 batters here today. Fortunately, in college, the other team doesn't feel the need then to hit one of the other guys. That's the 3rd. Corson, high throw, and Lubbock Christian still alive on the air by Corson. The throw too high for Schindler. Second error by the Hilltoppers. Their first was on a throw home.
Kind of one of those in-between plays. Alexander had it on the play before that. You're charging in. Do you stop and make the throw, or do you throw on the run? Corson unable to keep that ball down.
So here's Bustamante. Reached base his first 4 times up. 3 for 4 with a run and 2 runs batted in. This Lubbock Christian squad has the capability of winning 2 tomorrow and winning 2 on Saturday. It's a team with a .323 average coming in, best in the Heartland. And although their team ERA isn't as good as St. Edwards, they have the looks of having a deeper pitching staff. And their weekend rotation has been tremendous. Contreras, Daniel Crooks, Russell Reber, all with just 1 loss each coming in. Combined record of 26-3. Although Contreras is due to get the loss here.
So that's one thing that Lubbock can take from this game if they aren't able to come back is they used only one of their regular relievers that come in towards the first out of the bullpen and one starter. So they have a lot left in the cupboard.
Right. They would take on the loser of Fort Smith St. Mary's unless they're able to pull off a miracle comeback. 3-1 the count to Bustamante. Ripped foul. It's now a full count with 2 outs.
So the runner will be moving on this.
Some noise from the right side of the depot with the St. Edwards fans and players wanting Austin Weaver to finish this off. That's to right center. Base hit. And it goes under the glove of Hairston. This will allow Narvaez to come all the way to score. And Bustamante slides in safely at third. Probably will be ruled a double and an error, but it's not 12-7.
Hairston, I don't know what he tried to do there. He tried to take it off the short hop rather than just get in front of it.
A double and an error or single and an error. Doesn't matter. He got a runner on third.
For sure.
Bustamante has reached base for the 5th time. Not an RBI. Well, the Chaparral's still alive. It's a strike to Brandon Ricks. It's reached base twice, but still looking for his first hit, 0 for 4. And the RMAC, Colorado Springs, has rallied 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. They've tied Regis at 7. And that gets away from the catcher, Whitaker. Bustamante scores. Wild pitch makes it 12-8. Now the base is clear. Just in case, there is now starting to be activity in the St. Edwards pen, Josh Guerra. But you know Rob Penderson's staff, they do not want to use anyone else. Now 1-2 the count. The third. Corson has a chance here, and that'll do it. Lubbock Christian scores 2 in the 9th, but it's St. Edwards rallying with 8 runs in the final 3 innings, and they move to the 3:30 game tomorrow, still with the loss in hand. As Lubbock Christian must win 4 in a row, 2 tomorrow, 2 Saturday, to win the Heartland Conference Tournament. 12-8 the final. 12 runs, 15 hits, 3 errors for St. Edwards, 8 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Lubbock Christian. Austin Weaver gets the win, 5 innings of relief. The redshirt freshman improves his record to 4-0, and Ricky Contreras gets the loss to fall to 9-2. So 12-8 the victory with St. Edwards defeating Lubbock Christian. This is a back-and-forth affair. St. Edwards led 4-1. Then it looked like it was all Chaparrals, and Ricky Contreras was rolling, then ran into trouble in the 7th. TJ Gieselbach, the hero offensively for St. Edwards, his 3-run homer, giving the Hilltoppers the lead that they would not relinquish. Overall, a great game, especially offensively, but the 4 seeds come away with a win.
Like I said in the early going, anybody's tournament, and the 4 seed knocking off the number 1 seed definitely proves just that. Austin Weaver, what a job by the freshman from Georgetown to come in and shut down the Lubbock Christian Chaparrals. I mean, after Hilltoppers have used 2 starters right off the bat. So big job for him, and the Hilltoppers move on to the 3:30 game. Lubbock's going to have to fight their way out of the loser's bracket.
And that'll be interesting. You just made the point. St. Edwards essentially used 2 starters today, although Austin Weaver wound up getting the victory. And we mentioned in the 9th, though, Lubbock Christian definitely seems to have the look. You look in the stat sheet, the team to be able to still rally and still win this conference tournament, even though they have to do it the hard way.
Absolutely. They have the pedigree to do it, and they have the team this year to do it with the senior leadership that they have.
So 12-8, St. Edwards defeats Lubbock Christian. Lubbock Christian takes on the loser at noon tomorrow of our nightcap today between Fort Smith and St. Mary's. That first pitch is set for 6:30. St. Edwards gets the winner of that game at 3:30. The winner of that 3:30 game tomorrow definitely in the driver's seat because they'll move on to championship Saturday and will just have to win once, but they'll have to lose twice if they're unable to bring home the tournament title. So for Logan Lawrence, I'm David Salzman. We appreciate all of you being with us. Join us at 6:30 for Arkansas Fort Smith and St. Mary's, the 2 versus 3 matchup here in Cleburne. So long from the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament.